It was Clara's 80th birthday. The living room was meticulously decorated, reflecting the hours she had spent hanging multicolored balloons and arranging fresh flowers in elegant vases. The tables were covered with white linen tablecloths, and on them rested porcelain dishes and silver cutlery, carefully positioned for a party Clara hoped would be memorable. Clara reclined in her favorite armchair, a comfortable and upholstered relic that held as many stories as she did. Her gaze was fixed on the large wall clock, whose hands moved slowly, marking the monotonous rhythm of time that seemed to drag on more today than ever. Around her, the silence of the house was almost tangible, broken only by the ticking of the clock and the occasional rustling of curtains touched by a gentle breeze. With each passing minute, a shadow of disappointment deepened on her face. Clara had planned every detail with the hope of being surrounded by laughter and conversation, the voices of her children and grandchildren celebrating together. But reality presented itself cold and quiet, a painful reminder that expectations do not always turn out as we hope. Pulling her shawl closer, she murmured to herself, trying to dispel the feeling of abandonment that was beginning to settle in. "Maybe they're just running late," she whispered, trying to convince her heart as much as her mind. Determined not to let disappointment take over her special day, Clara slowly got up, leaning on the cane that was now more a companion than an accessory. She walked to the window, looking out in hopes of seeing a car approaching, some sign that she hadn't been forgotten. Nothing but leaves dancing in the wind greeted her view, and the weight of silence returned, more oppressive than before. With a resigned sigh, she returned to the armchair, picking up the phone. She dialed the number of Mariana, her eldest daughter, with fingers that trembled not only with age but also with emotion. After a few rings, a voice emerged on the other end of the line, mixed with background sounds that seemed to indicate Mariana was in a public place. "Mom? Oh, sorry, I was just about to call you." Mariana's voice sounded rushed, but she tried to convey warmth. Clara tried to hide the hurt in her voice. "Oh, darling, I was starting to think everyone had forgotten the old clock here," she said, trying to inject a touch of humor into her words. Mariana laughed nervously. "Oh, Mom, we would never forget you. It's just, well, something happened here." Clara's curiosity and concern mixed with frustration. "What happened, my daughter? Are you all right?" There was a pause, and then Mariana said, with a voice that carried more than just surprise, "Mom, it's something about Dad. I found some things, letters, in the attic." Mariana's voice was trembling now, indicating that the content of those letters was disturbing. Clara felt a wave of anxiety. "Letters? What letters, Mariana?" "Letters from a woman I've never heard of. And, Mom, they suggest something unbelievable." Mariana hesitated, clearly struggling to find the right words. Clara's breathing grew heavier, her heart sounding a silent alarm. "Go on, Mariana. What do these letters say?" And so, on the threshold of her birthday, as the silence of the house echoed around her, Clara prepared to uncover secrets that could change her family forever. Loneliness weighed on Clara like a heavy, cold blanket. After the first phone call attempt, where only Mariana's feeble excuses filled the silence, Clara persisted, her voice tinged with a mixture of resolve and desperation. "Mariana, please, tell me what you found. It's not just a trivial delay, is it?" On the other end of the line, the background noise diminished as if Mariana was moving to a more private corner. "Mom, I don't know how to say this. It's something I found by accident while I was looking for the old Christmas decorations in the attic." Clara gripped the phone more tightly, a sense of unease growing within her. "What did you find, Mariana?" "Letters, Mom." Mariana's voice almost broke. "Letters written to Dad by a woman I've never heard of. They're old, some dated from before I was born." Clara felt a chill run down her spine. "And what do these letters say? Why are they upsetting you so much?" There was a long pause, and Clara could almost hear the internal conflict within Mariana. "They talk about love, Mom, a kind of love that shouldn't exist between a woman who isn't his wife and a married man. And..." Mariana swallowed hard. "They suggest that something more came from that love." Clara's mind was spinning, each of Mariana's words hitting like a blow. "Are you telling me that your father..." She couldn't finish the sentence, the weight of the implication too great to verbalize. "I'm saying there might be more to our family's story than we know. That maybe. Mariana took a deep breath. Maybe I am. Clara interrupted, her voice now firm, a mix of fear and the need to face whatever was coming. Don't say that now, Mariana. We need to be sure about this. Can you bring those letters to me? I need to see them. Yes, Mom, I'll bring them. I was coming to the party anyway, remember? I'll be there in an hour. Good, Clara replied, trying to remain calm. We'll figure this out together. After hanging up, Clara remained still, staring into nothing, trying to absorb the possibility of a hidden truth that threatened the foundation of her family. She thought about her husband, the man with whom she had shared so many years, questioning if she truly knew him. When the doorbell finally rang, Clara stood up abruptly, her heart racing. It was time to face what was in the letters, to uncover the truth that had been sealed away for years in the dark attic of her family home. Mariana was there, letters in hand, her eyes reflecting the same fear Clara felt. Together, they sat on the old brocade sofa, the same one where the family had gathered in happier times. Mariana handed her the letters, and Clara, with trembling hands, began to unravel the secrets they contained. Each word a revelation that could either shatter or rebuild the world she thought she knew. The afternoon light streamed softly through the window, casting a golden glow over the faded letters that Clara held with trembling hands. Mariana, sitting beside her mother, watched every expression that crossed Clara's face as she read. The elegant handwriting carved out words that were like knives to Clara's heart, revealing long-hidden secrets. My dear Thomas, Clara read aloud, her voice wavering, I cannot express the joy I feel each time we meet in secret. I know the world would never understand, but the love I feel for you transcends. Clara stopped, unable to continue. She looked at Mariana, seeking some kind of confirmation or comfort. Mariana, this means... Mariana took the letters from her mother's hands, continuing where Clara had left off, her voice trembling. He says here that he regretted the circumstances, that he wished he could live openly by her side. He also mentions expecting a child, a fruit of their love. The revelation hit Clara like a blow. She covered her mouth with her hand, trying to stifle a sob. Then, this means that you... Mariana couldn't hold back her tears. Yes, Mom. The woman Helena, she mentions a date here, 9 months before I was born. She talks about expecting a child who would have to be raised in secret to protect everyone's reputation. Clara felt as if the ground beneath her was crumbling. And your father, did he know? Did he know when you were born that you might be? Yes, Mariana sighed, looking at another letter. Here, he writes to her after my birth, promising to take care of us, even from a distance. He talks about arranging everything with you, to raise me as your daughter, so that at least he could be near me. The silence that followed was heavy, laden with decades of lies and half-truths. Clara felt a mixture of anger, betrayal, and surprisingly, compassion. She looked at Mariana, her daughter in every way, except, perhaps, biologically. Mariana, I don't know what to say, except that this doesn't change the fact that I love you. You are my daughter, you always have been. Mariana reached for Clara's hand, holding it firmly. I know, Mom, and I love you. None of this changes who we are to each other, but I needed to know the truth. We needed to. The two women shared a moment of silence, a mutual understanding that although the past could be painful and complicated, it would not define their future. Clara finally broke the silence. We need to know more, Mariana. We need to understand everything. Mariana nodded. I agree. I want to know more about Helena, about what happened to her, and about the money Dad promised. We'll find out together, Clara said, standing up with determination. She knew the path ahead would be difficult but necessary. It was time to unearth the entire past, to face each hidden secret so they could finally move forward. And so, as the afternoon gave way to twilight, Clara and Mariana began to plan how they would uncover the rest of this intricate story. A story that was only just beginning to reveal itself in all its complexity. Clara's decision to hire a private detective was not easy, but the need to understand the full fabric of lies that had enveloped her life was stronger than any hesitation. Sitting at the kitchen table with Mariana, she leafed through the directory until she found a name that inspired confidence. Daniel Roberts, private investigator, she read aloud. It says here he specializes in family cases. Maybe he can help us. Mariana nodded, supporting the decision with a somber determination. Let's call him, Mom. The sooner we start, the sooner we'll have some answers. The call was brief. Daniel, with a calm and assertive voice, assured Clara that he would handle the case with the utmost discretion and professionalism. A meeting was scheduled for the next day at his discreet office in the city center. At the meeting, Clara and Mariana were welcomed into a room that reflected the seriousness of Daniel's work. Walls covered with shelves of files and certificates of recognition. Daniel listened intently as Clara explained the contours of what they knew so far. I understand the delicacy of the situation, Daniel said, meticulously noting every detail. I'll start by tracing the origin of these letters and try to locate this Helena. Additionally, we'll investigate any financial trail your husband might have left behind. The investigation quickly plunged into deep waters. Daniel discovered that Helena, the author of the letters, had disappeared without a trace a few years after the date of the last letter. More intriguingly, he found records of a bank account in her name, which had been fed with significant regular deposits until the time of her disappearance. This complicates things, Daniel remarked in an update meeting with Clara and Mariana. These deposits might indicate that Thomas was supporting Helena, possibly even after Mariana's birth. Daniel's words shed new light on Thomas's past, suggesting a web of decisions and responsibilities that went beyond a mere romantic affair. Mom, did you know anything about this? Did you ever suspect? Mariana asked, looking at Clara with a mixture of confusion and concern. Clara shook her head, her expression dejected. I never knew anything. Your father was always a closed book about his financial matters. I simply trusted him. The silence that followed was heavy with disillusionment and pain. Daniel, observing the mother-daughter interaction, gently intervened. Let's keep digging. If there are more secrets to uncover, we'll find them. And with this renewed promise, Clara and Mariana prepared themselves to face whatever else might come to light. It was a journey that promised to be arduous but necessary to heal the wounds of the past and perhaps rebuild a future on a stronger foundation of truth and understanding. The large living room in Clara's house had never witnessed a meeting so fraught with tension. The heavy curtains were drawn, and the usual brightness that illuminated the space was replaced by a somber atmosphere. Clara had summoned all her children and their respective partners for what promised to be a revealing and possibly transformative gathering. When the last guest arrived, Clara, with the demeanor of a matriarch who still held command despite uncertain circumstances, drew everyone's attention. "Thank you for coming," Clara began, her voice firm, but her hand trembled slightly as she held her notes. "I know that curiosity and perhaps concern have brought you here today. We need to discuss some discoveries about your father, discoveries that affect us all." The room was silent, each family member fixing their gaze on Clara, waiting for the words that would follow. Mariana stood beside her mother, the silent support amid the storm that was approaching. Clara took a deep breath and continued. "Recently, we discovered letters suggesting that Mariana might not be my biological daughter." The murmur that followed was palpable, like a wave sweeping the beach and carrying the sand with it. Michael, Mariana's younger brother, was the first to break the silence. "What does this mean, Mom? How is that possible?" Clara looked at Mariana, who nodded, encouraging her to go on. "Your father had a relationship with another woman before Mariana was born. This woman, Helena, wrote these letters." Clara handed copies of the letters to the family members, who began to leaf through the pages with expressions ranging from disbelief to sadness. Lucas, always the skeptic, raised his voice. "And we're just accepting this as truth, based on some old letters?" Mariana intervened. "I know it's hard to believe, but a detective confirmed their authenticity, and the investigation revealed financial transactions my father made to Helena. It's not just a supposition." The confrontations began to intensify as the reality of the implications started to settle in. Anna, the eldest sister, always emotional, began to cry. "How could he do this to our family? To you, Mom?" Clara approached Anna, holding her hands. "I'm trying to understand too, my daughter, but we need to face this together, as a family." The discussions that followed were charged with emotion. Accusations were made, tears were shed, and secrets that had been kept hidden out of fear or shame began to surface. Ricardo, another brother, admitted to always feeling in the shadow of a father who now seemed like a stranger. As the afternoon turned into evening, Clara knew this was just the beginning of a long process of healing and rediscovery. The family was fragmented, yes, but there was a chance for rebuilding, for strengthening bonds through honesty and shared vulnerability. And with the last of the confrontations calming down, Clara proposed a way forward. We need more answers. Let's find out everything we can about Helena and what this means for our family. We need to fully understand the past so we can build our future. And so, as night fell over the house that once symbolized safety and certainty, the family prepared to dive deeper into the shadows of Thomas's past, facing the truths that awaited them together. The morning after the tumultuous family meeting, Clara and Mariana met with Detective Daniel again at his office. The atmosphere was filled with a somber expectation, reflecting the seriousness of the new revelations about to be discussed. Daniel, with a grave expression, organized his papers before speaking. Clara, Mariana, what I've discovered may add another layer of complexity to what we already know. He paused, as if considering the impact of his words. It seems that Thomas diverted a significant amount of money to an account he kept absolutely secret. Clara felt a tightening in her chest. How much money are we talking about, Daniel? We're talking about millions, Daniel revealed, showing them the bank statements and documents he had been tracking over the past few days. These funds were consistently transferred over several years to an account that, until now, remained unknown to the family. Mariana, frowning in frustration, asked, "And this money, was it all for Helena?" "I can't confirm it was all for her, but a significant portion was, yes. Additionally, there are indications that these resources financed various properties and possibly other responsibilities," Daniel explained, suggesting an even greater complexity in the use of the funds. Clara, trying to maintain her composure, took a deep breath. This is theft. He stole from his own family. How can we recover any of this, Daniel? Is there a way to reclaim what was lost? Daniel looked at Clara with a mix of sympathy and realism. "We'll try, Clara. There are legal processes we can explore to try to recover some of these assets. But I must be honest, it could be a long and complicated process." The implications of financial betrayal were vast and deep. They not only revealed another facet of Thomas's deceit, but also cast a shadow over the family's future financial security. The room fell silent, with each person processing the weight of these revelations. Finally, Mariana broke the silence. "What does this mean for us now? How are we going to deal with this, Mom?" Clara, her voice choked with emotion but still firm, replied, "We'll do everything we can to fix this. For you, for your siblings, and for the memory of the family we thought we knew." With renewed determination, but still shaken, Clara and Mariana thanked Daniel and promised to return soon to discuss the next steps. As they left the office, the first rays of sun cutting through the morning mist seemed to symbolize the struggle ahead. Tough, but not without hope. And as they walked back to the car, the secrets revealed so far seemed only the surface of a deeper, darker ocean of mysteries that still needed to be explored. In the days following the revelations of Thomas's financial and emotional betrayals, Clara's house became an epicenter of intense discussions and reflections. Although the air was still heavy with confusion and uncertainty, there was a slow yet noticeable shift toward reconciliation and understanding. On a quiet afternoon, Clara called for a new family meeting. The atmosphere, although still tense, carried a sense of purpose that the last one had not. Clara, with documents spread out in front of her on the dining room table, looked at each of her children and began with a voice firmer than she expected. "I've spent many sleepless nights thinking about everything that happened and what we can still do," Clara began, holding firmly to a piece of paper that trembled slightly in her hands. "The truth is, we can't change the past, but we can decide how to respond to it." Mariana, sitting beside Clara, took her hand, offering silent support as her mother continued. "With part of the money we recover, I've decided to start an organization. A foundation dedicated to helping women who have been betrayed and abandoned, women who find themselves in situations similar to what Helena may have faced." Michael's eyes, which had until then shown a mix of anger and confusion, now reflected growing understanding. Mom, that's incredible. It's a way to do something good, something positive, with all this mess. Anna, who had been vocal about her emotions from the start, now expressed renewed admiration. I want to help, Mom. I want to be part of this. I might even be able to use my marketing experience to promote the foundation. Clara smiled, grateful for the support. I would love that, Anna. We need all the help we can get. Lucas, who had been more reserved, finally spoke. This won't erase what happened, but it's a big step toward healing. Not just for us, but for others too. The discussion that followed was different from the previous ones. Although there were still moments of pain and hurt, there was also a sense of collective purpose, a willingness to look forward and make a difference. In the days that followed, Clara worked tirelessly to establish the foundation. With the help of Mariana and Anna, along with the legal and financial support of consultants, the Clara Foundation began to take shape. They planned the first fundraising events and started building a support network for women in need. As Clara reviewed the final details of the foundation's website, she felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. It was a new chapter, not just for her, but for the entire family. A chapter that began with the promise of renewal and the hope of forgiveness. And with this new direction established, Clara and her family began to look toward the future, preparing to face any challenges that might arise with the same resilience and determination that had guided them through the shadows of the past. As the Clara Foundation began to take shape, Mariana found herself frequently by her mother's side, not just as a daughter, but as a key partner in this new venture. The physical proximity in their daily work provided both of them an opportunity to rediscover and strengthen their bonds, which had been shaken by past revelations. On a Thursday afternoon, as they were organizing flyers for the upcoming fundraising event, Mariana shared her reflections with Clara. Mom, I was thinking, throughout all this time, you never hesitated to call me your daughter, even after everything we found out. Clara paused to look directly at Mariana, responding with a tender smile. Mariana, you will always be my daughter. No matter what any paper or document says, what we feel for each other is what counts. I know, Mom, and that means everything to me. I think I now understand what true forgiveness is, not just in words but in action, and your strength. It inspires me to be better, to do more. Mariana ran her hand over the flyers, aligning them meticulously. Clara placed her hand over Mariana's, stopping her movements for a moment. And you, my dear, give me the courage to move forward every day. Knowing that I can count on you makes this whole journey worthwhile. As the days passed, the two women dedicated themselves not only to the foundation, but also to deeper, more personal conversations that had long been postponed or forgotten. In one of those moments, while they sipped tea on the porch watching the sunset, Mariana opened her heart. Mom, I've always wondered, did you ever feel betrayed by me? For maybe not being your biological daughter? Clara held Mariana's hand, squeezing it gently. At first it was hard. I felt lost, confused. But then I realized that my bond with you goes beyond biology. We choose to be family every day we spend together, and that's stronger than any revealed secret. Mariana smiled, tears of gratitude shining in her eyes. Thank you, Mom, for everything. It was evident that, despite the scars of the past, the relationship between Clara and Mariana was becoming stronger, more resilient. The foundation they were building together served as a symbol of their own emotional and familial reconstruction. That night, as they reviewed the final preparations for the fundraising event, they felt more united than ever, ready to face whatever the future held for them. And as they closed the office, with the last rays of sun disappearing on the horizon, they knew they were ready for the next chapter of their lives, a chapter promising new challenges and new achievements. As the big day of the Clara Foundation fundraising event approached, Clara's house was more lively than ever. It was a striking contrast to the silence and loneliness of months ago. Now, the house resonated with animated voices and laughter, a tangible sign of the positive changes that had occurred. In the kitchen, as she prepared some snacks for an event planning meeting, Clara reflected on the past few months. Her life, which seemed to be falling apart on her 80th birthday, now had a new purpose and meaning. As she arranged the dishes on the table, Clara couldn't help but smile as she heard the sounds of her family working together in the living room. Lucas entered the kitchen with a broad smile. "Mom, you won't believe it. We got another sponsor for the event." Clara looked at him, her eyes shining with joy and pride. "That's wonderful, Lucas. All your help has been incredible. Seeing all of you so involved, it really means a lot to me." Lucas approached and gave Clara a tight hug. "We're a team, Mom, and after everything we've been through, I think we're stronger than ever." That night, as Clara watched her children and grandchildren gathered in the living room, discussing the details of the event with enthusiasm, she allowed herself a moment of contemplation. The reflection in the living room mirror showed a woman who had faced unimaginable adversities but now looked to the future with hope and determination. Michael, noticing Clara's thoughtful look, approached her with a glass of wine. "Mom, you seem pensive. Is everything all right?" Clara accepted the glass, smiling at Michael. "I'm more than all right. I'm happy. This wasn't the 80th birthday I had planned, but in many ways, it was much better. I gained something far more valuable." "What is it, Mom?" Michael asked, curious. "Understanding and acceptance, Michael, and the chance to start a new chapter, not just for me, but for our family and for all the people our foundation will help." Aina, joining the conversation, agreed enthusiastically. "It's really inspiring, Mom. You've turned one of the most difficult times of your life into something that will make a real difference in the world." Clara looked around, seeing the face of each family member. "I couldn't have done this without the love and support of all of you. Thank you for believing in me and in the foundation." As the night progressed, future plans were made, laughter was shared, and the sense of family unity was strengthened. Clara knew there would be challenges ahead, but now she had a robust support network, not only in her family, but also in the community she was helping to build. And so, as the family enthusiastically discussed the next steps for the big event, Clara knew she was embarking on a new phase of her life, a chapter full of possibilities and renewed promises. The preparations for the inaugural Clara Foundation event were in full swing, and Clara found herself amidst a mountain of papers and documents, each a small piece of the puzzle she and Mariana were assembling. In a quiet corner of her office, Clara meticulously reviewed each file, determined to ensure everything was in perfect order for the foundation. On a particularly long afternoon, while rummaging through an old box she thought contained only tax receipts and her husband's old contracts, Clara found a yellowed envelope hidden at the bottom. Her curiosity piqued. She carefully opened the envelope and withdrew several letters, all written in the same elegant handwriting she recognized from Helena's previous correspondence. Sitting in her chair, she began to read. The letters were dated years after the ones she had previously found. In these, the tone was significantly more serious. "Dear Thomas," one began, "the promises we made to each other weigh on me every day. Your support has been my salvation, but the challenges we face are harder than I ever imagined." As Clara read, each line revealed more about the emotional complexity and commitments Thomas had made to Helena. In one particularly revealing letter, Helena wrote about an agreement they had made, one that involved care and financial support, not just temporary, but something that sounded like a permanent arrangement. Clara felt a mix of sadness and indignation. "He promised to take care of her, just as he promised to be by my side," Clara murmured to herself, feeling the weight of each word. Determined to fully understand the extent of Thomas's commitments, Clara summoned Mariana to the office. Together, they examined the letters, discussing what each sentence could mean for the story they thought they knew. "Mom, this changes a lot," Mariana observed, flipping through the letters with a worried expression. "It seems he was more involved with Helena than we ever imagined." "Yes," Clara replied, her voice firm despite the internal turmoil. "And we need to fully understand this. Not just for us, but for all the women our foundation intends to help. Truth has power, Mariana, and we're going to use it to make a difference." Inspired by Clara's determination, they decided to expand the investigation to include not only Thomas and Helena's past, but also the legal and financial implications of the promises he had made. As they organized the letters and other related documents, Clara knew she was opening the door to more discoveries, some of which might be painful. However, she was resolute. We'll face whatever comes, together, Clara told Mariana as they prepared for the next step. And so, with new revelations in hand and renewed resolve, Clara and Mariana planned not only the foundation's launch, but also the continuation of a journey that promised to bring more light to the past and, hopefully, healing for the future. As the Clara Foundation emerged as a beacon of hope for women in situations of abandonment and betrayal, the response from the local community was immediate and powerful. The Foundation's office, located in the heart of the city, transformed into a hub of activity, with women from all corners of the region arriving, each carrying her own story of struggle and resilience. On a bright Tuesday morning, Clara opened the center's doors for a group of women who had scheduled their first support session. "Good morning, everyone," Clara greeted with a welcoming smile, leading the group to an airy room painted in soft shades of blue and green, designed to soothe and welcome. Mariana, who had taken an active role in the daily management of the foundation, joined Clara at the front of the group. "We are here not only to offer financial help," she explained, "but to listen to you and provide a space where your voices can be heard and respected." A woman in the corner of the room, with gray hair and eyes that reflected years of challenges, stood up. "My name is Helena," she began, her voice a bit shaky. "I lived in silence for many years, suffering at the hands of someone who promised to love me. Finding a place like this, where I can speak openly, means more than you can imagine." Clara approached Helena, offering a hand in solidarity. "Helena, your courage to speak is the first step toward recovery. We are here to support you every step of the way." As other women began to share their stories, a sense of community and understanding formed among them. Each story was a poignant reminder of the adversities faced, but also of human resilience. Beyond emotional support, the foundation organized workshops and seminars on legal rights, personal finance, and personal empowerment. Clara and Mariana worked side by side with a growing team of volunteers, planning these events, many of which were led by community experts. During one of these seminars, Clara watched the participants interact, some exchanging phone numbers, others setting up coffee dates and mutual support meetings. Turning to Mariana, she commented, "Look at what we've built, Mariana. It's more than I ever dreamed." Mariana smiled, looking at the women who were beginning to find some relief and hope. "Mom, this is just the beginning. We have so much more to do." As the day came to a close, Clara reflected on the impact the foundation was starting to have. She knew the journey would be long and full of challenges, but seeing these women finding strength in each other reinforced her determination to continue the fight. As the Clara Foundation gained notoriety and impacted the community, it didn't take long for old connections and interests to be revived, some not as beneficial as others. During a busy morning at the Foundation's office, Clara received an unexpected call from an old family friend, Robert. "Clara, it's good to hear your voice, despite the circumstances," Robert began, with a tone of seriousness that prepared Clara for unpleasant news. "I've been looking at some financial transactions your husband made, and honestly, there are some legal concerns we need to discuss." Clara, already accustomed to facing challenges since the revelation of her husband's secrets, responded calmly. "Robert, I appreciate your concern. Can you explain what these issues are?" "There are questions about the legitimacy of the fund transfers Thomas made to various accounts, including the one used to start the foundation. Additionally, there are doubts about the ownership of certain assets that were distributed," Robert explained. Knowing that the consequences of these allegations could be devastating for the foundation and the trust she had begun to build in the community, Clara decided to act immediately. She scheduled a meeting with her lawyer, Mr. Thompson, a specialist in family and estate law, who was already quite familiar with her family's complex history. In Mr. Thompson's office, Clara explained the situation, showing him the documents Robert had mentioned. The lawyer carefully examined the papers before looking up at Clara. "We will need to conduct a detailed analysis of all these transactions and perhaps contest some of the claims in court. It's a challenging path, but we will protect your rights and those of the foundation." Clara, firm in her resolve, agreed. "I'm not just fighting for myself, Mr. Thompson. I'm fighting for all the women who now depend on the foundation." We cannot allow questionable legal issues to destroy what we've started building. In the following months, Clara and Mr. Thompson worked tirelessly, preparing defenses and gathering evidence to support the legality of all transactions and the use of funds. During one of the preparation sessions, Clara expressed her gratitude. "Thank you for being on our side, Mr. Thompson. It means a lot to us." "Clara, it's my duty and privilege to help," the lawyer replied. "Your foundation is doing important work. We will ensure it continues to do so." As Clara dealt with these legal challenges, the community around the foundation continued to offer support, reaffirming the need and importance of the work they were doing. Clara knew that regardless of the legal obstacles, the strength and resilience demonstrated by her and the women she helped were the true legacy she wished to leave behind. And so, with the support of her team, family, and community, Clara prepared to face the next phase of this legal battle, determined to preserve the legacy she had built with such care. In one of the regular meetings at Mr. Thompson's office to review the legal situation of the Clara Foundation, a significant and unexpected moment occurred. While meticulously reviewing the oldest files related to Thomas's financial transactions, the lawyer pulled a yellowed folder from the bottom of a drawer, raising a cloud of dust. "Clara, look what we've found here," Mr. Thompson said, handing her a set of documents that appeared to be personal letters written by Thomas. Clara, with slightly trembling hands, began to read the words written by her husband, words that had never reached her ears before. "Dear Clara," one of the letters began, "there are things I need you to know, truths I should have shared a long time ago. My heart is heavy with the burden of secrets I've kept, and it is my hope before my departure to clear the air between us and protect our future." Clara sat down, stunned. "He planned to tell me everything," she murmured, more to herself than to the lawyer. "He wanted to make things right." Mr. Thompson, watching her closely, added, "It seems he was preparing not only to reveal the information, but also to justify his actions. These letters could be very important to our case, Clara. They show that his intentions, although late, were geared toward reconciliation and transparency." Thomas's words in the letters revealed an internal struggle with his decisions and a clear intention to make amends for his mistakes, especially regarding the secret financial support to Helena, and by extension, the foundation Clara now ran. He spoke about redemption, about correcting mistakes before it was too late. Clara read aloud, a new understanding lighting up her face. The discovery significantly altered Clara and Mr. Thompson's legal strategy. Together, they decided how they could use the letters not only to defend the legitimacy of the financial transactions, but also to humanize Thomas in the public eye and before the court, showing that his final intentions were honorable. "We'll prepare a new presentation for the next hearing, including these letters as part of our defense," Mr. Thompson planned. "This could help us gain more sympathy from the judge and possibly ease some of the legal pressures against the foundation." Clara nodded, feeling a mix of relief and sadness. "I always knew there was more to him than the mistakes he made. These letters, they change everything." As she left the lawyer's office that afternoon, Clara felt equipped with new evidence and a renewed perspective on her late husband. The revelations not only offered a potentially exonerating path for the foundation, but also allowed Clara to face the future with a more complete understanding of the past. And with these documents in hand, Clara was ready for the next stage of the legal battle, armed with the truth that promised to bring new light to Thomas's actions and the legacy he left behind. Clara, revitalized by the discovery of her husband's letters and the progress made in the legal battle, decided it was time to expand the impact of the Clara Foundation. She wanted to transform the suffering and challenges faced into a driving force for positive change. With this goal in mind, Clara proposed organizing a public event, an open forum where issues of betrayal, family secrets, and recovery could be discussed. The idea was met with enthusiasm both by the Foundation's team and the community. Mariana, in particular, fervently supported the initiative. "Mom, this will be more than an event. It will be a chance for many to begin healing." "I'm with you on this," Mariana said, helping Clara plan the details. The event was scheduled to be held at the local community center, a space that offered a neutral and welcoming environment. In the days leading up to the event, Clara and Mariana worked tirelessly, preparing materials, promoting the event on social media, and through partnerships with other local organizations. On the day of the event, Clara felt a mix of nervousness and anticipation as she watched the chairs being arranged in circles to facilitate conversations. "I hope this brings some peace and understanding to those who need it," Clara commented to Mariana as they watched everything being prepared. As participants began to arrive, the room quickly filled with a palpable energy. People of all ages and backgrounds gathered, some anxious, others hesitant, but all united by the desire to better understand their own stories and perhaps find a way to move forward. Clara opened the event with a brief speech. "Today we are here not just to talk, but to listen. Each of us carries our own pain and stories. This is a space to share them, to learn from them, and hopefully to begin healing together." During the event, many participants stood up to speak. An elderly woman shared how she discovered her husband's infidelity after decades of marriage. A young man spoke about the impact of his family's secrets on his mental health. Each story, unique in its pain, also carried a thread of hope and resilience. Clara and Mariana listened attentively, offering words of comfort and encouragement. The event proved to be a catalyst for many who, for the first time, felt their voices were heard and their experiences validated. At the end of the event, as people began to disperse, many approached Clara and Mariana to express their gratitude. "This made a difference for me," said a young woman, her eyes filled with tears but also gratitude. Clara, emotional and tired, knew that the event had been just the beginning. She looked at Mariana and said, "Today we did something important, something real. Let's keep going." And with the stories and support of that night strengthening her mission, Clara prepared for the next steps of the foundation, knowing that the road ahead was filled with challenges, but also immense possibilities. The weeks following the community forum were a period of intense reflection and dialogue within Clara's family. The event not only served as a platform for the community to express and alleviate their pains, but also acted as a mirror for Clara, Mariana, and her siblings to reflect on their own family experiences. On a quiet afternoon, Clara gathered her children at her home, a place that, over the months, had seen tears and laughter, secrets revealed, and now slowly was beginning to see the first signs of healing. The garden where they gathered was blooming, symbolizing the new possibilities unfolding before them. "Mariana, Lucas, Michael, Anna," Clara began, her voice firm yet full of warmth. "What we've begun to understand through the foundation and the stories we've heard made me realize how much we ourselves have been affected by what we discovered about your father." Mariana spoke up, looking at her siblings with an expression of understanding. "I know it hasn't been easy for any of us, learning about Dad's actions and now trying to see beyond them to understand his intentions, his struggles. It's changed the way I see him." Lucas, who had initially been the most resistant to discussing their father's issues, nodded. "I was angry, more than anything, but understanding that he was also trying to redeem himself before his death somehow helps." Anna, always emotional, added, "It doesn't erase the pain, but it gives us a place to start healing, not just as individuals, but as a family. And supporting the foundation, it gives us a chance to do something good from what happened." Clara, listening to her children, felt a mix of sadness and pride. "I want the foundation to be a place where we can turn our pain into help for others. Thomas, in all ways, gave us the means to start this. It's a complicated legacy, but it's one we have the opportunity to shape moving forward." Together, they discussed how each could contribute to the foundation. Lucas offered his skills in finance to help with financial planning, while Michael, who had a knack for marketing, proposed new ideas for fundraising campaigns. Anna, with her background in social services, was eager to work directly with the women seeking help. By the end of the meeting, the family felt more united than ever. The wounds were still there, some perhaps would never completely disappear, but now there was a sense of shared purpose that helped them move forward. With the family united in their support and the community beginning to recognize the value of the foundation, Clara felt energized and ready to face the upcoming challenges. And as the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, Clara knew they were on the right path, transforming a legacy of pain into one of hope and healing. As spring gave way to summer, Clara's garden, which had once served as a metaphor for her own life filled with secrets and shadows, was now full of bright flowers and new life. This natural rebirth mirrored the transformation within her own home and the Clara Foundation. The seeds she had so carefully planted were blooming, both literally and figuratively. On a sunny Saturday, Clara walked through the garden with Mariana, discussing the next steps for the foundation. "Look around, Mariana," Clara said, gesturing toward the flowers. "Each of these started as a tiny seed. It's amazing to think that with the right care and environment, they can turn into something so beautiful." Mariana smiled, nodding as she walked alongside her mother on the stone path. "It's a perfect metaphor for the foundation, isn't it? We started with an idea, a desire to help, and now we're really making a difference in people's lives." Clara stopped and looked at the foundation, visible beyond the garden. "Yes, and just like these plants need ongoing care, so does the foundation. I feel revitalized, Mariana. I want to continue this work for the rest of my days. I want to ensure that your father's legacy, despite his flaws, serves something truly good." They continued walking, discussing ideas for new programs and events. "I've been thinking about starting a scholarship program for young women who want to study but don't have the means," Clara suggested. "That would be amazing," Mariana replied, clearly excited about the idea. Education is a powerful form of empowerment. We can really change the course of someone's life with that. As the day progressed, Clara and Mariana joined the other family members for an outdoor lunch. While they shared the meal, the conversation revolved around the foundation's successes and challenges. Clara looked around at her family, feeling deep gratitude for each of them. They had come together in ways she never imagined possible after the turmoil of the past year. "I just want you all to know how much I appreciate your support," Clara said, raising her glass in a toast. "Without you, the foundation wouldn't be the success it is today. Together, we are building something that can last for generations." The rest of the afternoon was spent in laughter and planning as Clara's family continued to weave the threads of a new beginning. Each member brought their strengths and passions to the table, enriching the foundation's work and, by extension, their own lives. As the sun began to set, painting the sky with shades of orange and pink, Clara felt a peace she hadn't experienced in a long time. The foundation was not only transforming the lives of other women, but also rebuilding her own family. She was determined to continue this work for the rest of her days, ensuring that her husband's legacy served to redeem past mistakes and create a future filled with hope and help. And with that determination, Clara was ready to face whatever the future held, knowing that together they could face any challenge. On a serene afternoon, the garden of the Clara Foundation was especially beautiful, illuminated by soft rays of sunlight filtering through the tree leaves, creating a mosaic of light and shadow on the ground. Clara walked slowly along the well-kept paths, each step a reflection of her internal journey. The garden, which she had carefully planned to offer a space of peace and contemplation, was now in full bloom, symbolizing the growth and maturity of the foundation itself. The wooden benches scattered throughout the garden were often occupied by visitors to the foundation, many of whom found in the silence and beauty of the place a refuge for their often troubled souls. Clara stopped beside one of these benches, observing a young woman sitting there, her eyes lost in the distance, absorbed in deep thoughts. "This place is so peaceful," the woman said, noticing Clara's presence. "It's my first time here, and I already feel a calmness I haven't experienced in a long time." Clara smiled, sitting down beside her. "That makes me very happy. That was exactly what we hoped for when creating this space. Every plant, every path was designed to bring peace and provide strength to those who visit us." The conversation gently turned to the future of the foundation. "We are planning to expand our programs," Clara shared, looking toward the horizon where the sun was beginning to prepare for dusk. "We want to offer more workshops, more educational resources. Our mission is to grow as much as the need we see." The woman nodded, clearly encouraged. "That's wonderful. With everything I've been through, finding support like what the foundation offers, it makes all the difference." Clara listened attentively, each personal story reinforcing the importance of the mission she had embraced. Every experience shared here teaches me something new, Clara reflected aloud. It shows me that even in the most painful situations, there is the possibility to grow, to forgive, and to start anew. As she stood up to continue her walk, Clara felt re-energized, inspired by the interaction and future possibilities. She walked past groups of carefully cultivated flowers, each representing a story of resilience and renewal. As the sun set, casting a golden glow over the garden, Clara thought about the future with a mix of determination and optimism. She knew the journey would be long and sometimes arduous, but she was ready to face the challenges ahead, confident that the foundation could continue to be a beacon of hope and a catalyst for change. And so, with the twilight painting the sky in shades of orange and purple, Clara returned to her home, reflecting on the past but firmly looking toward the future, ready to guide the foundation toward new horizons and new achievements. On Clara's next birthday, the atmosphere in her house was vibrant and full of life. The residence, once silent and lonely, was now pulsating with laughter, lively conversations, and the sound of soft music. Colorful flowers adorned every available surface, each arrangement a symbol of gratitude and appreciation for all that Clara had done. The rooms were filled with friends, family, and many community members who had found support and hope through the Clara Foundation. Each face present told a story, a living testimony to the impact that Clara and her vision had generated. As Clara moved among the groups of people, distributing warm hugs and sincere smiles, she felt a deep satisfaction. She paused beside a table covered with photos capturing precious moments from the past year, foundation events, children's smiles, workshops, and seminars that had changed lives. Mariana, always by her mother's side, raised a glass to make a toast. "I want to take this moment to thank each of you for being here today," she began, her voice filled with emotion. "You are an integral part of our journey, and celebrating my mother's birthday with you makes everything even more special." Clara, touched by Mariana's words, felt tears welling in her eyes. She picked up her own glass and added, "You all mean the world to me. This past year has shown me that no matter how difficult the path is, when we face it together, we can accomplish amazing things." The toast was followed by a chorus of "Happy Birthday," and as Clara blew out the candles on her cake, she made a silent wish for the foundation to continue growing and making a difference for many years to come. After the congratulations, Clara found herself in a conversation with Helena, the young woman she had met in the foundation's garden months before. "You really changed my life, you know," Helena said, her gratitude evident. "The foundation gave me the courage to start over, to see that there's light at the end of the tunnel." Clara held Helena's hands, feeling deeply moved. "It was you who found the strength to move forward, Helena. The foundation is just a space to show that no one is alone." Throughout the night, stories like Helena's echoed throughout the house. Community members, inspired by Clara's dedication, shared how their lives had been touched, how they were now helping others, creating a cycle of kindness and continuous support. As the night wore on, Clara retreated to the garden for a moment of silence and reflection. The night air was fresh, and she breathed deeply, absorbing the smell of the flowers she had planted and tended throughout the year. Mariana joined her, wrapping an arm around her mother's shoulders. "You did it, Mom," Mariana said softly, looking at the stars. "You turned pain into something beautiful and meaningful." Clara nodded, feeling the truth in her daughter's words. "And with the help of all of you," Clara replied. "This is just the beginning of a legacy that I hope continues long beyond me." With one last look at the starry sky, Clara returned to the crowded house, where laughter and joy continued to fill the air. The celebration of that birthday was more than just a personal milestone. It was an affirmation that love, determination, and community can transform lives. Clara, surrounded by those she loved and who supported her, knew she had created something lasting, something that would live on far beyond her. And with that certainty, she plunged back into the celebration, ready to face the future with the same strength and compassion that had guided her so far.
So, if you're not subscribed yet, click on the subscribe button below and join our community. Thank you for your support and see you in the next videos.